you hold me in your arms so tight, you let me know everything's alright. I'm hooked on a feeling.
He crushed it.
I'm high on
It's a grand slam.
that you're in love with me.
I'm telling you, it's time to party. Ortiz in the deep right field. Back is Sheffield. We'll see you later tonight. Hard hit into right. Back at the wall. Target. And Boston is back on top.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, welcome to the first ever episode of SoxHub, home of the tied for second place Boston Red Sox. I am your host, Brandon McElary, and alongside of me is the one, the only, the zesty lefty slinger, Trotty Too Hottie, aka Matt Trotta. How you doing today, my friend?
I am beautiful, living the dream as always, running at God's speed. How about yourself, Mac?
Oh, it's just a great day. I mean, we got Boston Red Sox in second place. We got Boston Red Sox on tonight. Now they're not on frickin' Nesson or MLB Network, so, you got to find other ways to stream, but that's just called adaptability, if you ask me.
Hey, no free ads or anything, but when you're in dark times like these, streameast.xyz gets her done. Every time. Every single time. Can't miss
that,
that,
folks. Streameast.xyz. I mean, in fairness, FBI, don't come arrest or anything like that, and using it right now, crystal clear. So, loving every second of it. All right, well, welcome to our first ever episode and podcast here. A little bit of Sox talk. You're going to hear some baseball talk, mostly Sox talk, very biased thoughts towards the Red Sox, because I feel like we are probably one of the few optimistic people about this team. Everybody in my family, my friends on the internet, fans in general, they want nothing to do with this team, and it's all because of John Henry, if you ask me. But at the same time too, like they don't seem interesting, and I really feel like they are. I think this team's probably one of the more interesting teams that we've had since 2021, if you ask me. We sucked in 22, 23 was fucking miserable, as we know. This year though, I feel like there's a lot to be optimistic about from what we've seen so far. But yeah, I mean, like I've said before, though, one of the big reasons why we're doing this, a platform for me and you, just two guys being dudes, getting ready to talk about some baseball. I have nobody else I can talk about this with.
I completely agree, man. And there's always a lot to say every single day. I think you and I can relate to that both, and we're just kind of each other's safety net for it.
We really are, because, again, we'll try to talk to our wives and stuff like that about this stuff. And, you're sitting there talking about how Reese McGuire's looked really good at the plate compared to Tyler Wong or whatever it is. And she's like, Wong? Like, what the hell are we talking about? Why is John Henry dad? Why are we saying sell the team? Like, things like that. And you're just like, God, don't understand. And then you go down a whole rabbit hole with this stuff. And then their head gets lost. And they're really trying to follow along because they love us, but they're really not. And then you got to re-discuss this thing like 2 days later because it goes in one ear, out the other.
Did I tell you what I got Rach for part of her Christmas gift?
No, you did not.
All right, so it was her idea to get each other like a book for Christmas that was like an interest of ours. So I ended up getting her a Red Sox history book, and I was like, "You got to read this. It's great. Promise you, and educate yourself." She read it in yes, in like 6 days. She powered through it. She's a big reader.
I was to say, I know she's a bigger reader.
So like, and still, even after reading that, she'll know like a couple names on the TV, but she it's not even to the extent. Love her to death for doing that.
What did she get you this summer? I turned pretty.
Excuse me?
What did she get you this summer? I turned pretty.
No, she's big into those fairy books. You know those fairy books, the Sarah J. Maas books. No. Yeah, Sarah
Can't
J.
say
Maas.
that I am.
I'm guilty. Hand up.
So,
I haven't read her book yet,
book.
but it's okay. I'll read it soon. I promise.
So you're telling me that your fiance read through the book that you got her in about 6 days, and you haven't even touched the one she's got you for Christmas?
Yeah, I'm an asshole. I gotta do it.
Yes, we know who loves who more.
Fuck. I show it in other ways, Mac. I'm not much of a
Fair enough.
reader
Fair
about
enough.
dragons and fairies, but I'll do it for her because I love her.
There you go. That's all. That's what it's about. Love, folks. All right, go read a book that you
Amen
don't
to
want to
that.
read because somebody else loves it. Have you read Feeding the
Amen.
Monster?
No,
You know
I
what
haven't
it
read
is.
that one. Yeah, it's a Red Sox book. Haven't read that one yet.
Beautiful. I mean, it's a thickie. It's a thicker. All right, thick with
Ooh.
about 3, 4, maybe 5 C's in there. But let me tell you, I read it right before the season,
Uh-huh.
and it gets you all in your feels a little bit. Like it makes you remember why you love the Red Sox. It makes you remember the good times with John Henry.
Hmm.
And comparatively to where we are now, it makes you really miss Larry Lucchino, R.I.P. Of course, I'm out. Um, and it makes you really miss the like just some bad motherfuckers in that front office that wanted nothing more than to just win at baseball games. And it's a pretty goddamn cool book.
I gotta read that. I wish we
Yep.
had
So
ownership
highly
like that
recommend it.
right now.
It's a testing subject right now. Everybody, as you know, is just sitting there blowing up ownership. John Henry doesn't care. He wants to go buy, his what is it, simulator golf or some shit like that. He's focused on the Penguins. He's focused on Manchester United or Liverpool.
Just did
Excuse
that
me. I
signing
don't
with the
even care.
PGA.
Yeah, like who? I don't know. Get the reason John Henry was exciting is the same reason why Dave Rubenstein of the Orioles is exciting, why Steve Cohen of the Mets is exciting, because at the time he was a fan of the team and he wanted to see that team win. I mean, you don't get into the business of baseball to make money. You really don't. You get into it because it's something that's of interest in you and because you have fuck you money and you can sit there and be like, you know what? Here's $750 for the goddamn Boston Red Sox, and I'm just gonna own them. They're gonna be my play boy. You want $20 million? He's $20 million a year for you. You know what I mean? I don't know why they sound like fucking mafia gangsters, but in my mind, they do. We've got that type of money.
Sounds like that guy's name's Lou or something like that.
And little Lou Bob over here. All right.
Cigar hanging out of his mouth or something.
He hangs out in Jersey, but he's a Sox fan, and that's how it works up here.
Big fans, big fans.
But all right, so to kind of really dive into the nitty-gritty, I know we just kind of touched on a little bit of stuff today. You're gonna hear some stuff from Trotta and I just about state of the Red Sox, how we felt about the team preseason to kind of where we are now. And then we're gonna talk about just ownership again, probably briefly touch on that, Breslow, some of the off-season stuff that they did. We're not gonna go into like a full recap of the past 7 games, but we're definitely gonna touch upon the last 7 games. I showed you just as we started or before we started recording that like I have a folded list of notes from the games that I took of random thoughts, suggestions, things that I liked and saw. And mostly random thoughts is really what it comes down to. So excited to share
Beautiful.
those. But kind of
Beautiful.
gonna dive into that stuff. Dive into what our SoxHub team and MVP so far of the season is, our team shit bum so far, and then kind of a series look ahead, and then if there's anything interesting around the league that we want to discuss. So kind of dive right into it. How'd you feel about the
Perfect.
team coming into the season? How do you feel
Uh,
about their offseason?
the offseason was pretty quiet. The expectations of getting a big name like Yamamoto and then a backup guy, like kind of like the Robin to Batman of Jordan Montgomery, that gave me a big tickle, but my expectations weren't really high on Yamamoto. They were much more on a realistic guy like Jordan Montgomery. I was really hanging on to that for a while through the offseason, and once we got to spring training,
God bless you.
that's when I was a little bummed out because that's when I lost full faith in that, and my mindset had to turn on what we got right now. Um, and that was my biggest question mark on the year. I knew the lineup, regardless that we have a couple of rookies in there that we'll get to later. Regardless of that fact, I knew that our returners, even though they're a little young on that side, they're going to produce, and they're going to be an above half of the league offense. It's the pitching staff, not necessarily that bullpen. There's a lot of positives in that. It's that pitching staff, that starting
So
rotation that a lot of people were.
to your point about this, and I know this might be jumping the gun and getting to things much quicker, but like obviously the biggest concern that we needed to address was the pitching staff. I mean, we signed Lucas Giolito. That worked out real well for us, as we can tell. And just to even not jump too far ahead, but like that really fucks us for next year because we're paying him this year. Now he's obviously got opt into a stupid fucking $22 million contract in 2025, which is now going to hurt our chances of going to go out and get a frontline starter.
No one's going to want this guy next year if we want to dump him in the offseason. Nobody.
Nope. He like my real hope though is that Giolito actually comes back to this and is serviceable for that 1 year and maybe could be a bridge. But like I am tired of hearing that word bridge when it comes to players and pitchers on this team. It's a bridge year. It's a bridge year. It's been a fucking bridge year since 2019. I feel like
it shouldn't be this way. It really shouldn't. I don't even. I specifically.
They're the goddamn Red Sox, Trotter. They got to throw their cock on the table and say this is how good it is. Plain and simple. I don't know why it's that goddamn hard.
Yeah, I'm glad you said it.
Somebody had to.
Yeah, I'm glad you did because it needed to be said. They don't really do it anymore. Even go back to like when David Ortiz was around, they could have done that with him. I know he was a little old, but that's your guy. That's your dude. And they just give him 1 year deals constantly. We're not really a program or team that gives out those long-term contracts. The first guy that got one is freaking Rafael Devers, really.
I was just saying, I mean, in fairness, that was the first one since like David Price, I want to say maybe. Actually, I mean, if you want to consider Yoshida did get a 4-year deal, but even 4 years in like when you really think about it, like 2026, that guy's a free agent already. Like 4 years, think about high school. Flies by like the freaking snap of a finger. And before we know it, Rafi's going to be 30, 31 years old. I really hope he's not overweight and out of shape and stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, this is not we don't slander Rafi on this podcast. I love the man. But we're just wasting his prime years at this point, I feel like.
Yeah, a little bit. Especially when you're banking on guys that aren't even going to be up in the big league system for at least another year, maybe 2. And like you're looking at 3 years until those guys that they're banking on in the organization are going to be MLB fully ready. And
like league average stats.
Yeah. And how realistically, how old is Rafi at that point?
He's 26, 27 right now. So I mean, he's going to be 29, 30 years old. Actually, probably closer to 30, 31 we're looking at. And then at that point, too, I feel like you're almost borderline looking at a $30 million DH, which I'm fine with. As we know, this team thrives with a DH. One person in that spot. I know Cora and Breslow don't necessarily like that. They like rotating guys in and out. However, Cora's probably not even going to be here after this year, which is sad to say. I hate to say it. I love the man. He's my coach. Okay, that is my coach. But like, I don't know if he's going to be here next year. It's just you hear some of his comments. He doesn't want to talk about this stuff, and nobody does in season. They really want to focus on the season and stuff like that. But if I'm Alex Cora at this point, my humble opinion is get me the fuck out of here. You've made so many promises that we have not kept. Get me the fuck out of here. I am sure there's going to be some great managerial jobs open up that he's going to gladly go take and thrive in. And I literally wish nothing but the best for him because I love the man, but I don't think he'll be here.
Realistic me wants to say I agree with you. The optimist in me says that he'll stay. I think he'll stay because of the relationship that he has built with the group that has been here for the last couple of years with him, especially those homegrown guys. I think he has a lot of passion for that group and a lot of love for that group. Despite all of the vibes that he gave off in that end of spring training conversation when they were asking him all those questions at the podium, I think he's been fantastic this year, per usual. The managerial decisions have been great. Besides Jolie, I mean, that's the one. He's had some incredible decisions and managerial moves that I don't think a lot of managers are going to be able to do. Specifically, one instance came up in the National League the other night, if you picked up on that with the Diamondbacks.
I would say when Scott McGee had a bat and then the Yankees won, which, by the way, the Yankees are fucking pussies for, you know what? I understand they're trying to win games, but to walk the damn hitter before the pitcher and not give the Arizona Diamondbacks a chance, I get it. It's a smart baseball move to make, but you know what? You're the goddamn Yankees, all right? It's fucking baseball. Compete against the man in the box. Don't be soft.
110%. And that's a big time Booney move, dude. Big time Booney move.
Well, Aaron Boone gets up here and he starts talking, and he's like, "Well, we just want guys to be comfortable out there. I mean, this is the big leagues. We're out here just trying to win baseball games, okay? Obviously, I'm gonna walk that guy and get to the pitcher. Like, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up, Boone."
The guys up top in the data booth, they told me we have a much higher percentage chance of getting that pitcher out. It's like a 95% difference. We had to do it.
Thanks, asshole.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, keep picture those guys up in the box here, Boney. Yeah, the pitchers up the dot next. Listen, I really like our odds against him. We go out there and we throw him 3 straight sliders. We're probably gonna get him out before we get Eric Judge out. I don't even know who the hell was up before him, but it's still just.
I couldn't even think of who was up before him. The Diamondbacks. Ugh, no, I'm not watching them. I'm all set.
I mean, they're a little bit. They're kind of fun to watch right now. I mean, Christian Walker has one of the prettiest right-handed swings. Yeah, Corbin Carroll, Loris Gurriel's having a hell of a year. They're kind of fun. I like them. Brandon Pfaadt.
He's not
Merrill
bad. He had a
Kelly.
good postseason.
I always got to put it together. Merrill Kelly, stuff like that. But anyways, we'll get to other teams. But I'll
stuff.
Mhm.
If he's going to leave, where is he going? That's my
that's the
one
thing
thing I
is-
can't picture is him in a different uniform, managing a different team. If he's going to leave, I don't know if he's going to be coaching, man. I don't know. I think it's like a more important role in an organization.
I mean, everybody says that he's a front office guy, and who knows? Like, he could leave and take a front office position with the Red Sox. I doubt it, but he very, very well could. But to me, I think he would make a great front office mind. Like, he would be a Heim, but better. And what I mean by that is he uses the analytics, but he blends it with a really good old school approach as well. Like, he's the perfect modern day coach right now with how he blends old school versus new school baseball. So I think he's just as valuable either way. In whether he's in the front office or he's in the dugout actually getting those players. My personal opinion, I do think that he serves the game alone of baseball much better in a dugout, just because his ability to connect with players and be a player's coach, I think, is huge. And certain teams need that. And I think we look at things right now, especially the young ones. You look at Cassis. Cassis got kind of ridiculed early on last year for the stuff that he did, painting his nails, sunbathing out in right field. Just kind of his approach to the game. He got shed out for that stuff by whether it was older guys in the team, fan bases, whatever it is. And Core is just just let him do it. If he's in, who the hell cares what he's doing? You know what I mean? Just go out there and have fun. But he's if you especially look at it this year, he, I think, has quote unquote let the kids play. He finally brought up Cedane Raphael. He was very confident in that guy bringing him up. Weiler Abreu, Wilger, however the hell, I still can't figure out his pronunciation even after hearing him say it. But Weiler Abreu, he has the utmost Wilger Abreu. It's a soft J. It's a silent J. But he's very confident in Abreu. You know what I mean? Even though we'll get to that in the game, so he's fucked up a lot in these games. He's confident in him. But you look at Jarren Durant, okay? Jarren Durant's come out with his hair done, all right? He definitely looked at Chris Martin and said, I fuck with that hair color like that. I fuck with that. Let's do that. That was cool.
Fox.
And this silver fox. And then he said, we're going to go with a little kind of crackhead mustache look there.
A little
but
Jack Sparrow look.
Yeah, Jack Sparrow. That's a much better way to put it. And to be honest with you, it kind of fucking works for him because you had said it. Now, I almost wish people could read our back and forth banter between the games because I think it's electric and it's pretty much what stemmed a lot of this podcast talk. But is you had said he looks like such a douchebag when he steps into the box, and honestly, he does. But think about it. Not that Jarren Durant is a douchebag, but I feel like he gives off that douchey vibe. That's just kind of what he is. He's a little bit different. He's dyeing his hair. You know what I mean? He's, swagging out a little bit. He's always out there smiling. He's fucking running he's running 89.5 feet from home plate and then not touching it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, he's just doing things like that. That's his personality. And Cora, where to tie this all back in, Cora, I think, has let this happen because I think he realizes that if you just kind of let kids play, you let them be who they are, they're going to perform a lot better for you. And I think that speaks a lot to Cora as a coach. And so, whether he's with us, he's in a front office, wherever he goes, I do think he deserves to be in a dugout, whether it's this team, I pray, I really do, or somewhere else because of his ability to bring up the best in players. Now, where would you think he goes? I have no idea if there's any openings or anything like that, but
I have two opinions. I think he would go down somewhere closer to where he can get to Puerto Rico. Either that or I can see him going West Coast. Not to the Dodgers, but to the Padres. I can see him doing that. I really do. The Padres are starting to be similar to the Dodgers, a old kind of like retirement home for Red Sox people, or a Land of Misfit Toys reincarnation project, like the Dodgers. Side note, did you see that Dodgers game that had they had to have done this intentionally. Paxton started, Frazier came out of the pen. Same with LeMay. LeMay's still in the league, and he's shoving 2 innings for the Dodgers on the back end. Anyway, but I
James
can see
Paxton
Cora
goes
going
5
back.
innings pitch. Brian Brazier 1 inning pitch. Joe Kelly 1 inning pitch. Dinelson Lamet 2 innings pitch. Which, by the way, if they fucking fix Dinelson Lamet, not that I'm going to be pissed, I'm actually going to be happy because I do believe, like, when he signed with the Sox last year, I think I texted you, I was like, we just got Dinelson Lamet, and I was like, I low-key love that signing. However, I forgot to be a Dave fucking Bushbag as our fucking pitching coach, so of course you weren't going to fix that fucking guy.
No
but
shot.
again, it's been talked about, it's been hard time, but Ryan Brazier goes there, and in 10 days, he has a new cutter, and he pitches to a .73 ERA for the rest of the way last year on the Dodgers. Like, that's all it took. Yep, that's all it took. Now, since we're talking about the Dodgers, but also as Red Sox players, this is in my notes here with one of these things. I'm curious of your take on this.
What do you got?
Hot take. Mookie isn't the player he is today if he stays in Boston.
Player or person?
Player, because of the person he is. I think LA brought out, I don't want to say the best of him, but a different version of him. Again, that kind of allowed him to be more free, maybe not as serious with the game of baseball. Not that he doesn't take the game serious, but you know what I mean? Like, not as like business. You know what I mean? Like, he can kind of go out there and have fun now. And I feel like it's so fun out in LA. I know everybody wants to hate against the Dodgers, but honestly, I've been really enjoying watching them just because of the fact of the star power that they have. I mean, they have 3 MVPs in their lineup, like within recent years, too.
Yeah.
In their lineup. So my whole point to this, though, is that I don't think Mookie is who he is now if he stays in Boston, because if he stays in Boston, he's a right fielder and he plays right field the entire time. Now this dude gets to go and play second base. He gets to say, hey, you need me to play shortstop? Sure, I'll go out there, do a little use with the glove, throw some guys out. You know what? You want me to hit 14 hits, lead the majors in home runs, RBIs, runs? Sure, I'll go out there and do that. Why the hell not? Like, I don't think he's down layered in Boston.
Yeah, I can agree with you. When you look at the lineups that he would have been in over the years, really the only guy protecting him is who? Rafi. For the most part. So he has constant studs and pretty much an all-star lineup around him every single year he's been with the Dodgers that can kind of protect him and force pitchers to attack him in the zone. And if they're not attacking him, they're going to have to attack Freddie Freeman or now Shohei or Max Muncy or Will Smith. So that takes a lot of pressure off him. And I think, like you said, he's just playing loose as he possibly can be. And that just makes him loose as a human being as well. I think on that scheme of things, he's much more looser as a human being, has much more of a voice. Yes, he's gotten so much better as a player, and that provides him more of a voice. But I think that doesn't happen if he's in Boston because of how judgmental and how stressful the media can be for players. I think he has much more of a voice out there in the LA territory.
I think he's a leader out there in the LA territory. Like, that is
The vibe
like
matches.
the fans love him. The vibes matches. But like, on that team, I like it might be a bold take here to say, but I feel like those are the guys that players look to. Like I know
Yep.
Freddie's there, but I feel like Freddie's more of an old school type guy where like he's there to get the job done and stuff like that. Where I feel like guys look to Mookie a little bit more on that team and like leadership. Obviously, everybody looks at the show. Don't get me wrong, but I mean the guy there, in my humble opinion, is Mookie Betts, and I don't think not that he wouldn't be the guy here. Don't get me wrong, but like he had
Yeah.
Xander as well, and so he was competing with that for a little bit. But I don't know. It's just like the way Boston has matched, you hit the nail on the head with like the media and shit like that. Like it just, I don't think he's that player. So that's one note that was in my stuff from these games. To do
I
that.
like
So
the hot takes.
oh, I got a few hot takes in here. Before we jump into this, we can go through this real quick. Favorite team edition.
Is it like, can we consider people that are called up, like new to the roster this year?
Let's go team like off-season acquisition type thing, and then you can also give me one of those because I'm curious what your take is on both those. Because I would actually have a take for that.
I love Grissom. I love that pick
Yeah.
once he's healthy. I think that provides us a lot of stability, not only defensively, but in the lineup a little
Coming
bit more
from the
too.
guy who said that he cried when the Chris Sale trade happened.
Yes, that was a time for me. That was a very dark place, but I've come around on that, and I've had my peace with Chris Sale leaving, and I wish him the best with the Braves, and I hope he wins Comeback Player of the Year for the NL. I'm not gonna lie, I think he has a shot at it if he stays healthy. But Grisham going to be a stud. That's a Gold Glove defense right there up the middle. Take out third base and first base.
Vaughn,
Yeah,
come again?
second
Are
base.
you high? How much weed have you smoked tonight? Have you smoked any? Is there any alcohol, drugs, anything in your system? You got a fever? Anything?
No. What happened?
Now what
missed
I
it
meant
out?
to hit there. Yeah, I think you missed something. I should have played this sound when you said Gold
Did I
Glove
have a brain
defense
fart?
there. Yeah, I mean Vaughn's not a great defensive guy. That's why they put him at short. Don't get me wrong. I believe he is a second baseman, but they tried him out in shortstop in Atlanta. It didn't go well, and that's where Brady Schumacher had made the team before him, and then Orlando Arcia replaced him because he wasn't even doing that well. And then just to try to find a place for him, because, well, I shouldn't say just to try to find a place for him, Ozzy Albies is the incumbent on that team. Do not get me wrong. But like now they're like, okay, well now we got nowhere to play this guy because Orlando Arcia can do this. He's not a great at shortstop. Let's stick him out in left field, see what we can do. Now Chipper Jones had come out and said that do not be surprised if this guy is good at second base. Not great, but he's good at second base. So right now he's a below average defender at second base. I would probably equate him to Emmanuel Valdez's defense, but with a little bit more athleticism, which, as we've seen so far this year, athleticism speaks volume to defense. So he has the ability to take a step forward, but he is not a great defender right now. Maybe in 4 years, we might be able to see Gold Glove defense up the middle. But from my defensive metrics that I've looked at, and just from hearing, just seeing stuff on Twitter and what people have said, Chipper Jones especially, like, just not that great as a defender. So, anyways, continue. Von Grissom, your favorite acquisition?
I think he's going to be a Gold Glove defender potentially. Like when you combo him with the tier that Trevor Story is at. If Trevor Story's healthy all year and you
Hot
combo
take.
those two together, those two, when you put it all together, statistically combo them together, that'll be a Gold Glove player. That and you got your manager
writing
right
that
there.
down. I'm
Go
writing
for
that down, by the way,
Do
just
it.
Von Grissom,
Do it.
bold ups.
Gold Glove potential. You go and you have your manager who used to be a second baseman. You got Trevor
Mhm.
Story that also played second base and had to figure that out on the fly and did so pretty decently defensively, I would say. That and then Von Grisham, it's not like the first time he's been playing second base. He has 40 games played, 39 started from 2022 with the Braves. And then last year he started 18 and played 19 games there. The fielding percentage wasn't great last year and the small sample size over there, but that's all right. I'll take it.
Okay. I
You
like that.
combo
So
it
Von Grissom
together,
is here.
he's at probably 98 fielding percentage at second base between 2023 and 2022.
Hot takes. And you know what? Listen, we are optimists on this podcast. We love the Sox. We believe in them. But That's a hot take, 98 gallon percent. But yeah, I hope it's true. I hope it comes true. I
I
just think
think
you're
the
crazy.
errors that he's like, compare him to Valdez like you did. Valdez is making those routine plays. The ones that make him he has to throw on the run, or he's at second base having to turn a double
Anything
play.
that involves athleticism.
Anything that, yes, pretty much, that it scares the hell out of me. So I feel like
Blip.
Javon Grissom is going to have so much more stability right there at the plate as well. I have a very strong feeling he's going to do really well. His first home run was against the Red Sox too. If I recall, that was at Fenway Park too. So, bang.
In
I think that's
fairness,
already
I do think that is going to be legit, and especially I think it's a good pick just because it's a long-term pick as well. It's not just a 1-2 year deal type thing.
Yeah.
So I do think it's a good pick. However, I heard this, forgot where I'd heard it, but if you want to see how somebody really feels about a team, go look at how the other fan base is reacting to the trade. And I guess, like, not even I guess, a lot of Atlanta fans were like, you guys are getting a good one. You know, the dude can hit. Like, we love this guy. Team loves him, all that stuff. So that, I think, speaks volumes of the type of guy he is. So I think Von Grissom's going to be a good to great player for years to come here.
Thank you for agreeing. Besides
I
what I
like it.
did.
All
We'll
right,
see.
so I'm really torn between four things, to be honest with you.
I have a feeling I know where you're going to go with yours for your pick.
I feel like you probably do too, but it's because I have
Recency
two really
bias.
out of the box ones, and some recency bias, obviously. So, go ahead. Who do you think I'm going to go with?
I think you're going to pick Tyler O'Neill.
Okay, so that was the first name that I had written down, Tyler O'Neill. I love the guy and what he did in 2021. And I do understand we were still kind of in that juice ball area just a little bit.
That was
Or maybe
top
it's 2020.
10 top 10 MVP finish for him when he was healthy that whole
I
year, right?
believe top 5 finished
Top
that year.
5. Jesus.
Or it's either top 8, definitely top 10, definitely top 10. I don't want to quote me on that, but it was definitely higher up there. But I mean, he had 33 home runs. He stole 15 bags that year. Drove in like 98 RBIs, batted pretty close to 300. And I mean, look, I described him after watching him make that throw in Seattle. When I texted you, I was like, he just kind of seems like a dude on a softball field that everybody hates, like the biggest douchebag on the field that steps up and everybody's like, fuck, you're like, this guy's such an asshole. Now, I'm not saying Tyler O'Neill is. I love the guy. He just gives off that vibe. However, Haley looked at him for the first time. the other day.
the game. Wait till after.
Yeah, like,
That
go out
kinda
there,
guy.
guys. All right. Two. He's yelling 2 from far right field when like the ball's
Let's
just
go.
deep in left field.
Yeah.
He's calling off the center fielder while he's playing right field on the fucking up. Like he's
When
he's
he's
one of those
not-
guys.
When he's not at the plate, he's sprinting to the third base coach's box automatically. Player coach, MVP, manager of the year.
Shifting players around everything. He's everything you want and more in a men's league softball. But that's
100%.
really the vibe that he gives off, like, because he's just that yoked. And I know he cares about eating and lifting, and I love that because you got to be dedicated to that stuff. But like the energy the guys brought, there was 2 hits in the Seattle series that I generally thought were home runs. The man fooled me because like right off the bat, I'm like, oh, that's gone. Tyler O'Neill had the worst jump I've ever seen, and then out of nowhere, 2 of them just in his glove. He jumps up ridiculously and makes a catch, and I'm like, my God! But he goes out there, he pops a few home runs. Like you ask me, he should be in that 3 hole right now instead of Trevor Story. Take the pressure off Trevor Story. He's a right-handed bat. I don't care if he needs to be DH, but he needs to be in the lineup every day. I do understand the health concerns that come with Tyler O'Neill. I truly do and understand it, but he's, I think, too good. The talent is too good there, especially with how it's going to play at Fenway Park. I think he's too good to not get in the lineup every day and be able to rotate him into the DH. I mean, that's why we have 4 outfielders on this team. So I think he's one of my favorites. The other, all right, I'll just flat out say he's my favorite. The other 3 that I'm going to go with real quick, I just honorable mentions. Justin Slayton, I loved him even before like he was known or anything like that, just because you and I being, old baseball coach, big driveline guy. He was a big driveline guy, and Kyle Bodie had talked him up quite a bit. And ironically enough, who did the Red Sox hire this year?
Will they hire one of those driveline guys?
Kyle Bodie. They also hired Jason Ochart to be the director of player development in the minor leagues. Jason Ochart was the top hitting guy at Driveline, with Kyle Bodie being that top pitching guy behind it all. So now you're bringing in Kyle Bodie, who I got shit for this state, just because I said, look what he did in Cincinnati. I was like, oh, what did he do in Cincinnati? You have Nick Lodolo, you have Hunter Green, you have Grant Ashcraft, you have Tyler Stevenson, who was in that bullpen. You have a lot of pitchers that were in that bullpen and in that starting rotation that were scouted. He is that new era of Moneyball. Moneyball was all about trying to find undervalued players that could provide, say, $2 million worth of value for $250,000. Mm-hmm. He is that same type of mentality by looking at all those numbers, all those spin rates, and say, there's something more in here. This guy wasn't even drafted. Let's take a look at him and see what we can do. And he somehow gets the best out of him. So it's interesting enough that it's Kyle Bodie who gets here, and then they could trade for Justin Slayton. And now Justin Slayton, everybody's out here slobbing on the guy's knob, which I love. Don't get me wrong. He deserves a couple slob knobs. All right. Just because he's going out there, he's throwing 97-mile-an-hour piss. All right. The ball's moving. He hides the ball while the slider looks good. Or what the hell are they calling it now? The
sweep pass.
No, not the sweeper. Not the sweep, but
the bullet
strike
slider?
missile. Yeah, the old bullet slider coming right down the clock.
No, baby.
It sounds like a whiskey drink, if you ask me. I'll take a bullet slider.
Oh, I'll take a shot of that.
Big Jared Weaver coming out right now to throw the first pitch for the fucking Angels, and I hate that guy.
Oh, I liked him. Him and Lackey. Oh,
love that. And you just kind of think about it. Jared Weaver also looks like. Have you ever seen a series of unfortunate events with what's his name? Jim Carrey?
No, I haven't.
Did you ever watch Lemony Snicket?
No.
None of that stuff?
No,
he looks just like him.
I distinctly remember watching a game with Weaver in that, and he got rocked. And he gets
doesn't shock me.
Taken.
Piss.
All right. He gets taken off the mound in that away team stadium to like nah, hey, goodbye or something like that. And he's just saying it while he's walking off the mound.
Goodbye.
Now, hold on. Am I messing him up with his brother, Jeff Weaver? One of them's a douchebag.
Potentially. Jared Weaver was very similar to like a John Lackey sort of personality when he was on the mound. He was
there's one guy on Twitter, though, that is like almost a Jeff Fry-like, but like, I'm an ex-major leaguer. I know what I'm talking about. You would never be able to get away with that shit in the bigs today type thing. And I don't know if it's Jared or Jeff Weaver. One of the Weavers is a D-bag, though.
I'm looking at it up.
Yeah, so find out. My last nomination for favorite offseason addition, I'm shocked you didn't say this one, Andrew Baylor.
That's a good one.
I mean,
not a player. I was thinking player.
I know. That's why I go out of the box with these things.
He's fantastic, though.
I know where you're going with this, but who's your favorite, new to the roster, but within the system?
I'll say Zan Rafaela, 100%. Like him all day. Defensively, he's Jackie Bradley Jr. If not right now, he will be. I think it's that good out there. Just his first steps are ridiculous. Him at the plate, I think it's a work in progress to say the least right now, but he's going to run into his fair share of baseballs. He's already performing at a pretty decent level, a lot higher, a lot better than my expectations initially were going to be for him at the beginning of the year. He's pretty much had a hit in almost every single game. I think he's gone hitless in 2 of the games so far, if I recall correctly. I don't know if you have that one handy, but
I do not.
He scared the heck out of me on opening day. Him running the bases, he looked like he was still in the minor leagues there a little bit, trying to do too much. And then as the season's gone on quickly here in the small sample size, he looks like he's a little bit more comfortable.
But see, that's the thing, though. What's kind of in the Sox's motif right now is putting pressure on the defenses. So and on the pitchers, especially being on base. So I know he's made a couple base running. There was it might have been game 1 or game 2 where he was at second base and either got picked off or was trying to steal third. I forgot exactly what the play was, but there was a stupid play. And I was just like, we're like, what the hell are we doing there? Because I think after that it was who was it? Was it Duran maybe? Either maybe Wong. Somebody hit a single and it would have scored him, which would have put us up by 2 at that point, which would have been really big for us. But I will say this, so this because I was texting you that first night. I was like, I'm not that big on Zidane this year, at least. I'm not that big on him. Like, I don't think the bat's there. I don't think the play approach is there. I think he has a bright future in the game, and I know the defense is there. I was like, I'm just not that big on him. And then, literally, as the game started progressing, you're watching some of the catches he's making. And then I think he roped the triple down the line, but he turned a double into a heads-up triple. And I think by the end of it, I was like, Zidane for an idiot. This fucking guy is unbelievable. Where has he been?
He's the kind of guy, too, that the fans are going to love and get behind, and he's going to get the sort of votes that you need in that department. You can't just be playing well in those sort of voting. At the same time, it's a little bit of a popularity contest, and he can win it with his style, the way he goes about the game, and he's playing.
He already has, though. Like, he's got guys, like, it's not that I should say he's been polarizing. My dog just did the biggest sigh behind me, and I swear that I felt like a window crash. It was crazy. But, like, not that it's polarizing, but, like, did you see Tony Maz on Twitter? Like, what he had said about Zidane, and do you remember the catch that he made in Oakland? Well, he made multiple catches in Oakland, but the one from Brett Rooker, I believe it was, where he jumped up against center field. And Tony Maz is on Twitter over there, and he's like, Red Sox fans are overreacting to this because they haven't had a big league center fielder in years. They don't know what a normal catch looks like. 85% of the league center fielders are making that catch. There's nothing to write home about here. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, you forget that we had JDJ as a center fielder for, 7 years? Like, we know what good defense looks like, and Zidane Rafael has it. Secondly, that ball that was hit had an 830 expected batting average because it was hit 105 miles per hour off the bat at that certain launch angle. 830 expected batting average. So, no, actually, only apparently 17% of the center fielders are making that catch if you're going by the math.
Yeah. Thanks, Maz.
Yeah. So long story short is I completely agree with you on that one. So I'm trying to think. I really think that's probably the only one that's really brought up here. Because one of the interesting stats is
can't really say Brady right now.
One of the interesting stats that I had heard, and I think it was the opening day broadcast that had said it, 8 players making their first opening day.
That's wild.
That I feel like is a wild stat, especially for a lot of teams, but for like the Boston Red Sox. I mean, maybe not the Oakland Athletics. They have 30 new faces every year. On that, you know what? That was shots fired. I'm gonna take that back for what Oakland fans are going through right now. I feel for them, so I'm gonna take that one back. But
Rooker's back. Langoliers.
Rooks started hit a two-run home run today, so he's finally started to hit a little bit.
Thank God.
It's going to be a good one for talk about later. I'm going to talk about that conspiracy. Anyways, all right. So you know what? Let's just jump into some of this fun stuff here. Let's discuss the game. Honestly, I feel free to jump in at any point. I'm just going to start reading the notes that I have from these games. I would love some of your opinions on this.
Go for it.
Opening day, Bayo pitched. Okay. He made good pitches, but there was some good swings in the ball. He should settle down at one point, I said. And then I go, big double play in the first one, we need it. Called it, no big deal. And if you remember that, I was texting you. I was like, literally, Bale's a contact pitcher. He's going to throw a sinker low here. We're going to get a double play and we're right out of this. Not 8 seconds later did that happen. And you're like, said we fucking know what we're talking about.
Yes, indeed.
But Bale looked pretty damn good in his opening start. The big stat line from him was throwing 0 fastballs, which to me was very interesting because he leaned pretty heavy on his fastball last year. Andrew Bailey comes in. He says, fuck your fastball. It sucks. We're going to go throw the sinker. And the thing I love, you have your sinker that's moving in one way. You're throwing your slider, which is now coming in a little bit harder, and his changeup's coming in harder. Now they're all breaking different ways. You tunnel those together, and you have pitches that are breaking all 3 directions there, and that's pretty goddamn filthy. The only big thing that, not big thing complaint or whatever it is, but if I had one thing to nitpick right now, would just be the command and the control a little bit. Like just being able to command certain pitches in the counts a little bit better. Because as we know, Bale's not a strikeout pitcher. It would be nice to see him strike out 7, 8, 9 guys a game. He's unfortunately not going to do that right now, but I do believe he has the stuff to do it if he can command those pitches a little bit better.
110%.
Tyler O'Neill, good at hit and making me think fly balls or home runs, but then get caught. This is game 1 too, by the way, from these notes.
I think he was playing the wall, maybe on 2 of those, not one of them. The first one, I think I agree with you, and it was bad jump. But I feel like he's playing the wall in a certain way, in that he would
very
rather
well
run
might be,
with parallel with the wall than jump straight up in a certain spot.
but it's just like the route just baffled me because like it almost looked like too. And I get now that I'm looking back on it or thinking back on it, it's probably timing. But like his route to some of these, I'm sitting there, I'm like, that ball's down because like he just looks like he gave up on it. Like
Yeah,
it's like,
he's
fuck it, and then boom, jumps out of nowhere.
He'll do that to you.
He will. Raffy going to Oppo early in the season. Love to see that. I know his bat's been a little bit cold lately, but going to Oppo early in the season, always a good thing. Can't be a bad
When he's
thing.
there, he's on.
This take came in a little bit after my original text where I said I'm not that sold on him. Hot take, however, this take, keep in mind, this was from, again, we are recapping 7 games worth of games here, but Jared Duran has played very, very well at the top of the order. He's hit very well. He's been that aggressor on the base stops. But I did say my hot take is Sedane is in the top of the order before the end of the year, if not the leadoff hitter by the end of the year. I'm not so sure about that anymore. Now, granted, I cannot get that excited about 6 games, but if we see a big mature approach from Stephanie almost dropped that ball. If we see a big mature approach from Sedane, I could see that potentially happening, especially if Jared Duran starts struggling a little bit.
Yeah, 100%. I could see him in the 2-hole potentially too, or you flip flop him and Duran 1 and 2. I could see that as well. If not this year, then I could see that next year more realistically for little Rafi.
Especially if what's it called, Jared? If Duran's still here too, because
Yeah.
there's a chance that he's traded in the offseason. So, because we got to figure out what the hell we're going to do with all our outfielders. Next note, this offense. I know Rob's going to be coming back. Honestly, if Rob comes back, I think it's Weiler who goes down. Wilger.
Yeah, 100%.
Especially at this point. This offense fucks loudly. Now, this might have been a little aggressive hot take, to be honest with you, but when I say the offense, I do not mean just with the bat. I mean with every aspect of this offense, because I think this is a more dynamic offense than we've had in years. Granted, that's not saying much coming out of last place finishes, what our team has looked like. But we have Jared Duran in the top of the order, who, when he gets on base, he's stealing second. So automatically he's putting that pressure on the pitcher. And I do understand pitchers. I have game plans against hitters, but now you're thinking about him over there. So maybe now instead of throwing a curveball in this town, you may throw fastballs a little bit earlier just because you're going to try to catch Duran stealing early. And then that leads to more fastballs, and I think that's exactly too why they have Rafael Devers right behind Jared Duran for that exact reason, because he gets on, that could lead to more fastballs for Devers, and I believe wholeheartedly that's why he's in there. But again, the offense is more dynamic. Trevor Story, if he ever comes around to what he could be, or what he was even just 75% in Colorado, we get a 2020 season out of him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, solid player right there. Tyler O'Neill has any sort of season like that in 2021. There are a lot of ifs for this team, for a lot of things to go well, for us to be playing meaningful baseball past September. But Sedane Rafaela having a year that people think that he could have, Masataka taking a step forward, Devers taking that step forward, Wong, Reese, guys like that, Casas, like any build off of the stuff that he did last year. I mean, Von Grissom was going to be a big part of that, but obviously, you know, that happened with the injury, but he's going to come back. But honestly, I like Emmanuel Valdez. I mean, I know his defense isn't great, but like, he can swing it. Anyways, the whole point of this, the offense fucks loudly. Again, aggressive take, but it does. It does.
It will.
It will. Chris Martin, good at pitch.
Poof, is he? The Silver Fox is a dog. He gets into a little bit of damage the other night, getting 2 runners on, but he ends up finding a way to get out of it.
He might be the one guy, though, when that happens, like my heart rate doesn't just spike over anything like that.
No,
Like
it's
Jolie was
nothing.
on the fucking mound, and you and I were both like, "Get him the fuck out of here! Fuck this guy." But like Chris Martin, nah, he was cool cover.
Even with Kenley lately, I've been a little scared on my couch, but
So we'll get there. Don't you worry. I got some words for you, Mr. Jansen. Not that he's ever going to hear him. Because this podcast is brought to you by no one. It's episode 1, so God knows where it's going to go. There's going to be a lot of sponsors in here by the end of probably episode 3. I guarantee you. You're going to hear random fucking sponsors in this bitch.
no.
Segments, all this stuff. Really, we're just kind of finding our footing here. All right. So then, as we move on to game 2 and 3, I start writing down. Now, again, keep in mind, was not big on Sedaine to start the year. Little Raffy, as I try to do, how he calls him. My next note, Sedaine is a game changer. Speed, ends up base running, defense. 2 guys who make a difference in the base pass is huge, taking that extra base when it shouldn't be an extra base. I think what I meant by that is you have Sedaine and Devers, one at the top of the order, one at the bottom of the order. That are heads-up base runners that are going to go steal that extra base, that are aggressive base runners stealing that 90 feet. I think the Sox are going to need that to score every run that they can this year. And being able to have that at the bottom of the order where, say, he gets on and it flips over to Duran, and now you got Duran up there. You don't know if he's going to bunt. You don't know if he's going to bloop it into left field. And if it does, is Rafael going to go and take third base, and then his backside runner going to go take second? It's crazy. So long story short, he is truly a game changer with his speed and his defense. And that alone will keep him, I think, or should keep him, I hope, does keep him in this lineup for 145 games plus.
I really see it happening. I really do. I kind of take back my have them bat first and second option there, because you're going to kind of log jam Jaron Duran if he's in the leadoff hole and Rafi is in the 2 hole right there. Just with the speed alone, you don't get the most out of it. If you mix them up in the lineup a little bit, keep Duran at the leadoff spot, have Lil Rafi in the 7, 8, 9 hole right there. Ideally not the 9 hole, 7 or 8. I mean, that's kind of ideal.
I would agree. I mean, granted, just, obviously, as we mentioned, I just think the big thing is going to be able to see that just mature a little bit more. And again, I mean, he's 22 years old. I'm not, I know he's not a top prospect out there, with his hit tool or anything like that. I do think he will have a plus hit tool at the MLB level eventually, but he's just got to mature. He will get there, but he's going to be fun to watch for years to come.
No doubt.
He just reminds me of a better and sexier Jackie Bradley from the right-hand side. Not as thick, just way more athletic, but what he does in center field is quite fucking amazing. Think about the one in Oakland, okay, that he missed off the heel of his glove. He hit it off the heel of his glove. Was that the 3:30 game? Do you know what catch I'm talking about, though? Or non-catch that I'm talking about? If you missed that one?
Is this the one that was in extra innings, or is this the one that he had just regular time?
He just had it was regular time. I think it was the game that you can watch because you had work. Again, we're not full-time podcasters, so we have, real jobs. So West Coast trip has been absolutely killing me, having to be up early in the morning for work.
That show.
But anyways, there was a ball that was hit to the right center gap. Rafaela just completely turns on it. This ball, without a doubt, is dropping. And somehow, Rafaela gets there. He jumps, and it hits off the heel of his glove. But then he bobbles it a little bit up against the wall, and then it falls out. So obviously the ball had dropped. If you can find this play, go look at it Twitter, because it's ridiculous. But he's that good at center field that he actually, he got that good of a jump that he overran it. I don't know, ridiculous play. He overran it. So long story short, the man's fucking impressive. He's a game changer.
I didn't see that replay. I saw the one from the day game where he was running in.
Yeah.
Caught that one coming in on the ball.
Also, very funny news just because I'm seeing him come to bat. Anthony Rendon's out there. By the way, they were using, did you see the thing that was April 5th, Anthony Rendon's standing ovation day? And somebody tried to gather as many fans as possible to give Anthony Rendon a standing ovation to get his season going.
That's ridiculous. I wouldn't give this guy a standing ovation.
Nah, fuck that guy. He literally looked at the fan base of LA and said, nah, I don't give a fuck about baseball. I just want to spend time with my family, and God, that's really it. Baseball doesn't even mean anything to me. I ain't even really gonna work hard at it. I don't even really like playing it, but thanks for the $30 million a year, LA. Like, he literally just sat in a fan base's thing, and they want to give him like, you got dudes out here wanting to give him a standing ovation.
I don't understand that. That's like us giving Sandoval ovation.
That's where it should be, right there.
Yep.
Crazy stat of the day, though. It was since the last time Anthony actually. I gotta go bring this up on Twitter real quick. This is brought to you by Justin Havens, aka J.A.
Ooh, a little nuggy.
He's been all over Rendon, the Nugget Chef, and he's been tweeting these ridiculous stats. I gotta find it real quick from him. God, he tweets way more than I thought he. Hold on. Bear with me. Maybe it was a day or two ago. It's just one of the most ridiculous stats that I love. Tyler Nails intentionally walk. Where the hell is it? Anyways, as I look for this,
And
the last
Rendon
time.
punches out to end
Oh,
the at bat.
cut.
Cutter
I love
Crawford
Cutter
looking
this year.
great.
I love Cutter Crawford this year. I mean, everybody does. Everybody's been slopping this up, but he deserves it. They talked about his fastball being comparable to Garrett Cole's. I know the velo's not there just like his, but the amount of movement
the stuff
and break to his stop plus, all that stuff.
I
don't know if he literally deleted this tweet. Anyways, it was something crazy like that. But the last time that Anthony Rendon has a hit, I think Adolis Garcia has like 44 home runs in the majors. Somebody has like 60 stolen bases or something like that, and somebody had like 100 RBIs. Tristan Cassis had 14 home run. Like, it was just some ridiculous stat when I talked about the last. I think it said till Jackson Holiday was still in high school. It was just something ridiculous to the stat of Anthony Rendon is where I was going with all that. So anyways, next note, Red Sox offense without Rafi is scary bad. And I said, I wonder if Rafi in tight games looks at Cora. Like, so for instance, this was the game that he was out with his left shoulder thing. But the offense without Rafi scares me. It really does. Like, I know Tyler O'Neill's there, but like you like Cassis isn't hitting right now. And I have a hot take on him, by the way.
What do you got?
Fastball's by. I'm not there yet. All right. You know what? Yeah, not there yet. But I wonder if Rafi in tight games looks at Cora as like, coach, like, let me end it. Just let me pinch hit here and let me just end this game. And I wonder if he's that dude, like, sitting there being like, coach, I can go in, I can hit, like, fuck my shoulder, let me go hit. And Cora's like, nope, like, we need you healthy or something like that. Do you think he's that dude? Or do you think it's more just like, and I don't mean like he doesn't give a shit or anything like that, but like he's like, nah, my shoulder's actually sore. I can't swing that today.
I think that first day, no, he's not going to say anything because I feel like he said something to the point that he had to get taken out of the lineup. If it was something minor that like a trainer wouldn't pick up on, I feel like he would keep it under his hat and play through it. That second day, though, I feel like he would want to play, especially if he's feeling good. And I feel like on that second day, if he's feeling good, he's walking into that office of Cora and saying, I want to fucking play. Put me in the lineup. And ultimately from there, Cora's saying yes or no, or the training staff saying yes or no.
In fairness, since his shoulder injury, these are stats I gotta come prepared with, so I can back up my claims here. But since that shoulder injury, I feel like he has not hit nearly as well. And you can kind of see it a little bit with some of his swings. Now, don't get me wrong, Rafi never gets cheated on a swing whatsoever. No. But there are times where he's swinging where afterwards I feel like it's like, as he flips his, chop around and shit like that every time. Which, by the way, that ends his mouth. I believe it's got to be true, but that means his mouth is going to fall off. I've never not seen him have something in his mouth.
Since day one
That's what she said.
That film.
All right, question for you. I wrote this down and I don't remember why. I generally wonder how hitters build game plans against pitchers. And I understand there's obviously coaching staffs that come into it and stuff like that. But I said, do they look at, say, Isaiah Campbell? They know his strong suit is his sweeper. And he probably is going to throw it a lot. Or do you think they look at it like, how would I attack me if I was pitching? What are my weaknesses and how I can combat that? And I'm pretty sure this thought stemmed from, like, Cal Raleigh. I texted you this, right? But, like, Cal Raleigh's at the place facing Isaiah Campbell. He knows Isaiah. He caught him. He was his catcher. And I always said I feel like catchers should make good hitters because they're thinking, like, what would I throw in this count? Granted, I know we can get to the majors. That's a very different level of thought. But, like, I don't know. I feel like if I'm thinking of myself as a hitter, right? So, like, for instance, let's say Cassis right now. Cassis is struggling hard with off-speed pitches. So, naturally, apparently Oakland didn't get the memo, but naturally, you would throw him off-speed pitches until he proved he could throw it. Throw him low and in on him because he can't hit that right now. As a hitter, I feel like you're sitting there, like, you should think as you're building this game plan against pitchers, like, you should sit there and be like, all right, I've really been struggling with the off speed. Other coaches are going to know that and see that. I believe this is how they're going to attack me. Let's go in there with, like, looking for this in early in the count or something like that. Or do you think it's just like they get a they look at the pitcher and they're like, okay, their strong suit is their here. They're going to throw it off. Then let's attack that. Like, how do you think they build it off their weaknesses or the pitcher's strengths? Sorry, that was a long-winded fucking question. What I
think it's a little bit of an even porridge. First at bat, it's probably 25% going to be what is the trend saying, what are the numbers saying on how this guy is attacking a hitter overall. The other 75% of it, I would say, should be, hey, how are...
Our fucking boy. Sorry, Tyler O'Neill ding dong.
I'm on 5
Third
seconds
of the season. Ooh, so sorry. My bad.
Look how fast he's running around those bases. He is in a wind sprint around those. How's the fastest run shot of all time? To be expected with him on that number 14.
Don't know how to pose it. Bring you to the end there. Anyway, sorry. Tyler O'Neill fucks this offense. Fucks.
Yeah.
Pitcher attacking pitcher's strengths or hitter's weaknesses if you're a hitter.
Yeah, so 25% of it for the hitter's perspective is probably how's this guy attacking and having success in this league? Did we just go back to back with Kasi?
No! Fucking Kasi! Sorry. Oh, my hot take's gonna sound stupid. Oh my god, back the rat ding bongs for the fucking boys.
397. I need a fresh pair of pants.
Oh my god. Back to back ding-a-lings.
That got me.
I'm arrested.
Oh, yeah.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. That was exciting. Sorry, we're watching the game live if you can't tell right now. The first game against Griffin Canning here. All right, so let's shoot through this a little bit. We can get away
the other
from those big
75%. Real quick, other 75% probably how they would attack themselves. Like, hey, what are my weaknesses? What does this guy know about me based on the scouting report he got? So that's probably how they're going to go about that first at bat. Then from there, like, hey, Nick Pivetta, like, first at bat, you're ready for his sweeper. You're ready for his heater. Mm-hmm. But as a hitter, after that first at bat of the Oakland game, you see his sweeper's not really working too well, so he's going back to that heater. And I think that's where your plan changes. First at bat, bang, it's 25%. How that guy is succeeding throughout the rest of the lineups of the league. How is he going to succeed against me specifically for the other 75%? Then a little mix of a little bit more, a little bit less with how their shit is working during the game, throughout the game, lineup batter to batter as we go along.
That's fair. One of the things that I probably didn't think about in this, though, is adaptability is huge in the game of baseball alone, but as a pitcher hitter, but being able to adapt. Like, for instance, we know that Avetta, what made him a great pitcher last year was a sweeper, and then he carried that very heavily into his start against the Mariners, and then completely changed that approach against the Oakland Athletics. So granted, that could be because he didn't have a feel for a sweeper. I don't really think he was locating it that well, so he had to try to rely on that fastball more, but changed that approach. So good point. Love it. Adaptability here. So this is naturally where the Cassis take comes in. And terrible time to say it as he knocks the fucking homer. But in fairness, he did it off a fastball. And I think that's where the spike's going to go. I really hope that doesn't hurt Rafael's wrist.
Yeah. Oh, that's right on the hand.
I mean, he's got the guard on. He's got the guard on. He's holding it. Oh, no. That's not good. Season's over. Cancel it. Yep. All right. Odds over. Cassis might be exposed big time with off speed and especially slider. Same thing applies about the hand, which is this is actually where it came from. Was Cassis made me think of this thought, but this is a really bad take right here. Being the optimist that I am, I'm afraid that Cassis doesn't take the step forward that he should, and his second half numbers were great, but the underlying numbers behind it make me a little nervous when you look at expected batting averages of Robocon or Woba, and what his average exit velo was on certain things. Made me a little bit nervous that breakout might have been not fluky, I should say, but like
Bobby Dahlbeck.
Kind of Bobby Dahlbeck-ish. But like I do believe that he has a better pedigree than Dahlbeck did. And he has a better approach to hitting than Bobby Dahlbeck does, which I think that alone is huge. But I don't know. Something tells me, I'm not saying he's going to bust this year or anything like that. I just don't think he takes that giant step forward and becomes that team MVP that people think he's going to be with, 30 plus home runs. I think this year is going to be another figuring it out year for him because also too, he looks bigger this year than he did. Like he looks slimmed down, but he looks like he looks like a baby giraffe out there. Like when he's running, when he's hitting, everything about it. Like, I still think this dude's understanding his body. Like, I really think he's still trying to figure out his body. So I don't know. I don't think this is the year that he takes a huge step forward. I think it mirrors a lot of what happened last year. You're going to look at 24 on a good note, 28 home runs maybe. But I'm just afraid he's going to get exposed this year.
I mean, so far, early sample size, those Mariners, first 3-4 games of the season, he saw how many fastballs out of 40-something pitches? 4 or 5? It was insane, the numbers. And, like, the sliders are all going in the same spot, and he's getting fooled every single freaking time. I don't understand it. It's infuriating to watch, but
I really wish I had the soundbite of Dallas Braden. That's paint right there, dotted up. It's about a foot.
That's a pitcher's pitch right there.
That's a pitcher's pitch right there, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you, did Reese McGuire just go fucking deep? Did Reese fucking McGuire? I'm sorry, I was sitting below. I gotta bite my tongue a little bit more for you there. Oh my God. So that leads me to, I'm gonna come to this point right now just because of what he just did. I wrote it here on the rundown for us to talk about.
That's not a single.
Reese McGuire is the new primary catcher.
Book it.
We had talked about this before we started the pod and everything like that. Connor Wong's a very intriguing young man. I think his athleticism behind the plate and his ability to receive and how he makes a pitching staff feel. I think he puts together such good at bats. He's a very tough out. He's going to make you work for that out. You're going to see quality at bats out of him, 6, 7, 8 pitches. He's not afraid to drop a bunt down a left-hand side. He's literally going to drop in a blooper when you need it. He's going to whip out his dick, grease it up a little bit, and hit a fucking bomb. Actually, what I wrote on here, Reese McGuire, greasing bombs and hitting bombs.
What you said?
And I said Reese McGuire, greasing palms and hitting bombs. But I said, AKA the singles machine. And then he goes out there and rips a fucking doll. Doink! Just the tip.
Just the tip.
So that's my hot take right now.
Pause. Look at Jaron Durant's hair. What? No more silver fox.
No
more silver fox.
What are we
No
doing?
wonder why you're 0 for 1. Oh my God! Jet Black just for men die.
Okay, a lot of people are giving him shit for it, but you know what? I fucked with it. It felt like him. I really hope he didn't get bullied. Jaron Durant seems like the type of dude who is much stronger than he thinks he is, and like could kill somebody, but wouldn't. Like he's like Lenny from of Mice and Men or whatever it is. Like would crush a mice in his hand and like cry
Yeah.
because he didn't realize what he just did. And I feel like that's him. Like he just got old, but he doesn't realize it. If he's just himself, that's where it happens. I swear to fucking God, if the hair is the start of a downfall here, I'm gonna be pissed. I was a big fan of it.
Dude, I was against it at the beginning. I thought he looked like a tool, like I told you. Douchebag was the proper word I used. But it was giving him that little zest, that little flavor that he was using. Like it matched his persona, it matched his personality, it matched his play. Now he just looks like some greased up fucking Abercrombie model. Like I don't know.
I don't even want to say
What are we doing?
Abercrombie model. I just want to say like I don't know. He looks like he should have the hair greased back, his fucking blue whitewashed jeans, and a tucked in white t-shirt on.
I was getting comfy with it.
Flick Rick.
I wonder if
the
Chris
Dick
Martin
Reese
was
was
like,
fire.
"Hey man, sorry, you can't steal my look. I'm sorry.
Yes, like
You're
listen,
giving me
there's-
bad juju. I normally don't let two guys get on in an inning. You got to give me my hair back. It's my thing, man."
This team ain't big enough for hair like that for the both of us.
Amen, brother. And I'm the
Um,
only sheriff in town. Imagine if Chris Martin sounded like that.
I generally like. So it's funny. I look at Chris Martin, and I actually feel like he has a very like either like draws out words. I can't describe it in my like it will sound dumb if I try to sound how I think he sounds in my head right now, but he just doesn't seem like he either sounds way too intelligent or not intelligent at all is the way I'll put it.
It's like Craig Breslow status, or
Yeah. Yeah,
You
and
got
that's
Nam
kind of
left
how I
between
pitch it.
years.
But I can also
assume
like
it's going to be Craig status.
Well, like at the same time too, you look at him on the mound, nothing ever phases Chris Martin. He's just kind of out there like, let's just go get fucking outs. Like I'm just
Whatever.
gonna fucking pitch, baby. Like yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, single, who the fuck cares? I let it all run. Who the fuck cares? Just gonna go
Yep.
out there and do it, and not like Genley, not like Kenley doesn't fucking care. That's a whole different doesn't fucking care. This is just like a calm, cool collective doesn't care.
Yeah.
All right, so some other quick notes. One thing you lack star power. I like again. There's players all around the league, and I think I said this to you before the year started. I think one of the biggest issues we're going to run into this team is the lack of identity within this team. However, I do feel like we're finding it a little bit. I will not reveal sources or anything like that, but a good friend of mine is very good friends with somebody very close to the Red Sox that is in the dugout and works with this team directly. And a quote from him was, "This team's going to suck because they have no identity. They don't know who they are up at the plate, in the field, nothing." I don't know who that's a shot at. I don't know if it's a shot at Cora. I don't know if it's a shot at, the team in general, ownership. I have no idea. But that was his take, and I'm kind of not stealing it, because his seemed a little bit more pessimistic than how I feel about it, in the sense that it has no identity. But like, I take that statement back, because again, I said that too at the beginning of the season, because if we watch him out here now, I feel like we do have that identity of like this nitty gritty team that's kind of having fun out there. Now, granted, winning's fun, so that's probably why they're having more fun, because they're winning right now. By the way, Taylor Ward, I think is going to be a good this year.
He's got a shot at it.
I
They
think he
used to
hits
call him
27 to
Mini
30
Trout,
runs.
right? This was the guy that they used to call Mini Trout.
I don't recall hearing that, but Cassis. Yeah.
Oh boy.
That's
Oh
tough.
boy. Oh boy.
All right, you ready for this thought that I had late at night, because the umpiring was so fucking awful in both series, to be completely honest with you, but it has been so bad for the Red Sox. So hear me out on this.
What you got?
Umpires have stunk around this year already, missing tons of calls in and out of the zone. Instead of robo-umps, okay? We already have Apple Vision or whatever it is. Have you seen that yet? Or just seen what it looks like or anything like that, what it can do?
Yeah.
Okay. Why the hell don't we just put that on a goddamn umpire, get a strike zone for them in the box of what something looks like, and then it can literally track the pitch or something like that, show where the pitch landed, despite whatever the hell the glove's doing, and then he makes a call off that. Now listen, you want to penalize a catcher for sitting there and, pitch is supposed to be inside, pitcher misses way outside, it's the strike zone, but it takes the catcher's ball way out of the zone, and you want to penalize him for that because it looks like a ball. I'm all for that, okay? Because pitcher misses spot, all that stuff. But some of these calls that are right, like, did you see the Max Fried strike in the Castellanos?
Yeah, wasn't that down middle?
Literally. It was about probably 3 to 4 inches higher from right down the cock. It was unquestionably one of the worst strike or ball, whatever it was, missed calls I had ever seen, like blatant with my own eyes. It was terrible. It was an angel. That's the sad thing. But anyways, my whole point to this is why the hell don't we get them some sort of Vision Pro type thing, some goggles, some glasses that they can wear where they are seeing the strike. So like put a visor over their eyes that literally shows them a strike zone, tracks the pitch in, and it will tell you if it's a strike or not.
They make one of those like visors that catchers have on, or like one of those football Oakley visors, and you put it on one of those.
Like I feel like we have the technology, or we could go there. Instead of
take it one step further with that, man, you can have all the review stuff onto it. You just hold on a second, and then you got
right
it right there.
You get the review right there, especially too if it's also a camera right there too.
And you have your clock right there, and they automatically have a guy upstairs, another umpire, because they have the extra umpire, and they have their own box score. They don't even need to have the clicker anymore with it.
Well, like the thing too for me is that I'm not against robo umps, but like. What I am against is taking the human element out of the game, because I love the fact there is that human element. Like lately it has seemed like this year, umps are blowing calls like refs blow calls in like the Super Bowl type thing, like they do in football. But I feel like it's pretty bad this year. Don't get me wrong, but I love that human aspect of the game where a lot of the calls by umpires are judgment calls. Like, yes, you can overturn certain things, but like, I don't know. I love that human aspect of the game where it's like I used to tell hitters all the time, at least, like, listen, the strike zone, okay? When it gets to 2 strikes, though, it's not your strike zone anymore. It's the umpires. If he's calling the outside strike all game, I don't care. Crowd the plate and learn to hit that outside pitch then. I don't care if you have to foul it off, push it to right field, whatever it is. Like, we are going to get in there. We are going to hit that pitch. We are not going to keep getting run up on the same pitch just because you don't think it's a fucking strike.
And not leave it up to the umpire.
Yeah, like, but that's the thing I love, though, is there is that human aspect to it. Like, because now you've got to learn to adapt and override it. Because, again, in baseball, I'm getting way off track here. It teaches you so much more, though, than just about, the Red Sox and nature. Because, like, think about Major League Baseball, right? These are the dudes that are the best at what they do. They are the prime of the prime. Now, I understand, there's a lot of takes of like, this player sucks, this player sucks. Caleb Moore, for instance, there was that huge controversy with Carabas and him and stuff like that. And Matt Strom had to come in. I am of the take that no professional baseball player sucks at baseball, but I am of the take that there are Major League players that suck at playing Major League Baseball. Like, there are dudes that just aren't good at Major League Baseball that probably should not be playing, pitching, whatever it is. Half the Oakland, sorry, again, not gonna tackle what they're going through enough right now. But like, there are dudes that just aren't good at Major League Baseball and can't pitch. Doesn't mean they're bad at baseball. They're good at it, clearly, because they made it to the top of, the game, the top tier, whatever the hell you want to call it. But I don't know. Anyways, way off track there. So that was one of my thoughts. Umpires. Apple Vision Pro, something like that. Glasses that tracks and pitches.
We gotta call the league on that one.
I think we should. I mean, I think it's an investment worth having. At the very least, what they're doing in the minors with the players being able to check goal real quick.
You asked me how much pot you've smoked or how much booze have you drank to come up with that one, dude. That was freaking genius.
That was a 1:30 in the morning. Had to work at 7 a.m. the next day, and was just like dozing off, and it came to me. Those are when some of the best thoughts come to you.
Oh yeah. That in the shower.
Next thought. Send Jolie Rodriguez to the fucking moon. Yep. I understand why he's on this team. He had no options, and Bernardino did, but he has like a career 5 ERA in the majors. Who the fuck cares what Joey Rodriguez does? Getting the fuck off this team, get Bernardino back up here, and I guarantee you we are 6-1 right now, right high with the Yankees instead of 5-2.
100%.
Hot take here. I mentioned this one to you earlier over text. Yoshida looks shorter this year because his pants aren't up to his nipples. I swear to God, he's wearing his pants at regular height, and when he
Middle
steps in
rim.
the box, like not even middle rim, like less than
Bottom.
belly button. Like I think he's wearing them waist high, and I'm telling you, he looks shorter this year, and I really think it's affecting his gameplay. If he gets him up to the nips, I think he's a little bit tighter, and he's tighter with his swing, doesn't cast out as much, and boom, we get a few more hits out of him right there. So that's my hot take right there.
I agree. I mean, even with the pants down, he's been getting on base well. I mean, not necessarily like it hits every time when he's on base. He's been walking quite a bit too. But like he's been on base for the most part every game. Imagine if he hikes him up all the way. He's probably getting a couple extra ribbies, couple extra doubles.
That's what I'm
Oh my
saying.
God.
Like,
Why'd he go away
he's-
from that?
I don't know if he was bullied into it, and I hope
Better
that's not the
not have
case.
Do
Better
not
not
bully
have been.
Monzel. Do
Nope.
not bully him.
Nope.
I wonder if his buddy bets too. Wonder if his translator does. Anyway,
we can talk about that. Then we get into the athletics. I said athletics stinks. We should sweep. If we don't,
Yeah.
it's a loss. I don't feel good about some of those wins, but wins are wins.
yeah, you almost because of how the offense looked throughout most of that series, you got to kind of go and like, I don't know, is that a loss? But like our pitching staff just
Build this out. What you
Again,
get? The biggest question
overperformed.
mark.
But is this the norm here? We're consistently throwing zeros up there, inning by inning for the most part here. Like you got to count it as a win if our pitching staff's doing that. We started
Yep.
the year here thinking that our pitching staff was going to be the issue, and it's flip flopped right now. Imagine
Yep,
if both are
and-
highly going right now. We're 5-2, and our offense hasn't been doing anything, or at the ceiling, or even at the middle point of where we thought we were going to be.
Like I feel like this team is very comparable to 2021. Just because bear with me 1 second. We'll have to cut this. Give me 1 second.
Do it up.
I think my dog was getting hushed, which is anthem like crazy there.
All
All right. Sorry. We're gonna talk about the man behind the success of that pitching staff in just a brief couple of minutes here.
Yes.
But like my thought process is that this team's very comparable to 2021, where like at least at first I thought this because I was like the offense I think is gonna score runs. It's just gonna be a matter of the pitching keeping us in it. And so far it 100% has. Like they flip-flopped from the past 2-3 years of what they'd been to what they are this year, but we'll get deeper into that. Now, I'm curious into your take on this, being a pitching coach, being a pitcher, all this stuff. What is your take on Bayo and Whitlock throwing their changeups harder right now? Like, what's the significance, if there is one? And to me, if anything, like just knowing the game a little bit, the arm doesn't slow down as much, and it really blends a little bit better with your fastball. So now it's just much tougher to read coming out of the hand, especially tunneling it. If you could throw a fastball and then you throw that changeup and it comes in just a little bit harder, so you can't pick up the spin as much. That's my only thought process to it of like why that would be important. But again, as a pitching coach, like what is the significance of these two throwing their changeups a little bit harder?
I really like your thought about the arm speed having a match at the higher level. These guys are picking up every little bit of detail on a tipped pitch. So that's got to have something to do with it, especially with the younger end of it being Bayo. I think that's something that he'd probably have to work on a little bit more than Garrett Whitlock. In a velo addition thing, I'd have to look at their grips to see if they've adjusted that or if Andrew Bailey has tweaked that at all. But generally with more velocity, you'd think you're going to get a little bit more movement on top of that too, sharper movement, and that's more than likely going to play a little bit better, especially off of these late biting and sharp biting sinkers. Despite it being, a little harder, it's not by much, right? It's by 1.5, maybe 2 miles an hour. So it's not really
That's a big difference, though. I feel like
yeah, but you take a look at their fastballs, they're trending a little higher than they were last year a little bit too. So as long as that's sustaining and it's not like mid-year changeup velo staying the same and that fastball velocity is 1 mile an hour off of what it is right now, that's when I get a little concerned. So if they're consistently tweaking that and keeping an eye on it, I don't think it'll be an issue. As long as they're keeping the ball down and blending it well, I don't think their changeups are going to be an issue. But Bello needs to.
Look at Moss up right now. Can you not tell me he looks shorter?
It's right at belly button. It's not even at ribs. It's like middle of the belly button. I don't get it. That's sad.
I mean, granted, you got to hit there, so maybe something's working.
Yes.
But again, just wanted to kind of get your take on that because, like, I know with Whitlock, his changeup was one of his best pitches, and then he struggled really bad with it last year, just trying to recreate it, find it. He was messing with different grips, different arm speeds, stuff like that. So for me, just for him to find some consistency in it, I think is huge. And like, if he can really get that changeup down to be his number 2 pitch, like, it's going to be dangerous. I think I really do. But I don't know. I was curious of your take on that, just because I didn't know if there was much of a, like, if it was a good thing, bad thing, normal, whatever maybe.
I'm okay with it right now, as long as that velocity doesn't drop on the fastball side of things throughout the year.
I like it. I literally have 2 more notes here. Athletics game 2. I said it. Tired. West Coast trip killing me. Defense making all the difference this year. We lose these games last year without this defense.
No doubt in my mind.
And we did, without a doubt. Kenley, what the hell is going on? Is he injured? His average velo is way down. Doesn't seem to give a fuck and whatnot. That was my last note on here, is just Kenley. Like, what the hell is going on? I'm curious your thoughts on him.
We all know the movie Major League. He's the catcher. He's at the tail end of his career. Yeah, he's Jake Taylor right now. Jake Taylor was not perfectly.
I see what you said. Tail end of the career.
Up there in spring training, beginning of the year. It took him a little bit, and he wasn't fully bought in as well on the plans that they wanted to do with the squad, obviously, for that movie plot. Similar with Kenley, he wasn't with it. He wanted out. He was being pretty vocal that he didn't like where the direction was going or anything like that. And then you start spring training with the back spasms all over again. And now he's kind of stuck in it, seeing that we're 5-2 early on, about, hopefully, knock on wood, about to be 6-2 here. And he's like, shit, everybody else bought in. And I'm the only MFer that's kind of sitting here causing problems still, or looking like I'm not doing what I need to do. I think that he is a misunderstood dude. You think about how we were talking about Mookie Betts earlier with the personality fit and the Dodger system and the vibe fit. Do you really think Kenley Jansen is like a Dustin Pedroia or like a Jonathan Papelbon or a Jason Varitek with the media here? Or is he going to be more like a David Price or like a Mookie Betts, who's probably not going to be the best with the media at times out here, or might not have the patience to be able to deal with it? So I think he's more of like a calm, cool, collected, whatever kind of guy. But at the end of the day, I know that dude wants to win, because that's why he wanted to leave here initially. And I think he sees some positivity here. He just had an interview the other day with Nesson, and he seemed a lot more positive, and I think he needed that interview. And they know he needed that interview because of the fans. And I think he's slowly getting them back a little bit. But that velo is a massive problem. I don't know if he's going to be able to stay healthy all year, let alone be able to be successful as a closer all year with that. Like, it's only going to last so long, leaving the bases, like leaving 2 guys on base for a close opportunity until he blows saves. It's only a matter of time.
So your take was a lot nicer than mine, and it definitely convinced me a little bit there with what you had said, because before I was just like, I don't know, get rid of this fucking guy. And the only reason I said, it's tough to say that because last year he actually gave us stability at the position when we haven't had that the past few years. It's just, again, he was very outspoken about, like, well, ownership, which a lot of players were, and I'm not hating on that by any means, but he was very outspoken about the direction of the team and whatnot. But, and then all of a sudden my back hurts. Oh my gosh, my back's tight. I can't.
If you stop that twisty turny shit when you're coming set, your back won't hurt.
Or here's an idea: mix in a fucking salad or 2. Like, he's starting to turn into fucking CC Sabathia out there.
In the league. Second fattest. Second.
Yeah, and it's just like, who's the first?
I would assume it's like Batista from the Orioles because of how large of a huge, like tall and wide of a
But like
human being he is naturally.
he's just
but he's not
massive.
fat.
Maybe.
Oh,
I was
no,
trying to
no,
think,
no. Oh, Alvarado, the lefty from the Phillies.
but he's not a
He's-
closer. Like I'm trying to think of like dudes that are like closers, and like I don't know. I was trying to think of like who, because I did see that stat or whatever, and I was like, I can't think of who the first one would be. It might be blatantly obvious. Like literally to my head when I think of fat closers, I went to Heath Bell. I don't know if you know who or remember who
Yeah.
that was, but
Yeah,
he's a
it's
closer for the
Mr.
Dodgers.
Slidey Slide.
I mean, yeah, not the Dodgers, Padres.
Yeah, Jose
But
Alvarado is indeed the Philadelphia Phillies closer.
on paper, I know they had a little committee there. I mean, he should be the closer, but anyways, I don't know. My take on him is kind of what you said. Like at first, I don't think he gave a fuck. So he didn't think this team was good. What?
Well, I'm looking up the weights.
Oh,
Dude, Alvarado is 245.
I think that's not that bad though.
Jesus Christ, man.
I was
Where's Kenny?
245 before I had my surgery.
All right. Here's a little fun game brought to you in part by nobody.
Protein
How much
hurt by Zen because
Oh, how
why do
are
some
you
dipskis? Hey, yeah.
how old? Well, excuse me, not old. How much does Kenley weigh?
How tall is he?
6'5". How are you?
It's a massive catcher.
Oh,
265.
you gotta have that up on your computer.
Oh, that was just like I'm guessing at 6'5".
265 pounds.
Let's
Is
go!
the right answer.
Correct. Come on down.
Congrats, you win nothing but a clap. Good job. Good job. That was impressive.
Thank you.
That's
no.
impressive. Go buy a lottery ticket tomorrow morning, would you? For your own sake. That was
I
impressive.
very well might have to. I played in the factor of his height and the fact that he's a big boy. And I feel like when you look at those dudes, they look a little bit slimmer than they actually are. Like for instance, you're what, like 6'1", 6 feet?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and you weigh probably $120 something what. So there's that.
Yeah.
I know I'm 6'2" and like 200 pounds. So I know I had some relative numbers to work off of there, but 265, 100%. That's tough to hit right there. Yeah, so I don't know. I hope that he figures it out and can at least pitch some meaningful games for us. I don't know how long it'll last, if it'll last on all year. If it means a couple trips to the IL to give him a week or two off, to try to get healthy or stay healthy for the year, I'm okay with that, knowing that we have Chris Martin behind us. However, I did hear the take that if it ain't broke, don't fix it, because I do love Chris Martin in that eighth inning. The question would just be like, who the hell is going to come out and close? I've heard the name Justin Slayton throw out there, and I do think Justin Slayton has the stuff to be a nasty closer. However, I think it's just very unfair to ask of a guy who's never pitched in the majors before to come into that role.
I agree with you there that he could definitely serve as a closer for us.
But I mean, look at our last Rule 5 draft pick, Garrett Whitlock. Like that definitely could have closed and stuff like that. I mean, so maybe he can. And maybe
I do like the Chris Martin idea, but you don't want to take him out of his comfort zone. How often has he closed in the past? You know what I mean? But I really, if you're not going to have Kenley there and it's no other option, mine would be Chris Martin to start. Like, give him the opportunity. He's the veteran of the staff, probably. He's probably more than likely the most vocal guy there out of the veterans in that bullpen. I can't imagine Kenley's talking too much, so it's probably that Chris Martin voice that's going on and being the voice of reason at times. I would rather give him that opportunity first. But if not then, like...
I kind of really have been enjoying Isaiah Campbell.
That's kind of another one, too, that I'm like, he could be a closer, or you can put him in that setup role instead of Chris Martin. The only thing that I get really worried about is he's throwing like 4 or 5 fastballs, right? It's mainly those breaking balls. Mm-hmm. Like, are these flyouts? Are these outs at Fenway, like, that are going to left field? Or are these, like, going to be those Green Monster dingoes? That's what I get really worried about. And, like, people adjusting based on the ballpark fucking crap and lefties slapping it the other way.
So the one
off
thing
the launch or something like that
I
too.
hate about the ballpark adjustment crap though, is I hate about the ballpark adjustment crap though, is my big thing get that is like, oh, that would be over in 29 other parks or in one other park. Oh my God, Trevor's story. It's so fucking amazing having a goddamn real shortstop for us.
Nice
My
pick.
God. Like
It's a good
that.
pick too.
Oh, I said this, I might have said to you, I said to somebody at the beginning of the year. Devers' defense is going to take a step forward simply just having Story next to him.
Yeah.
I really believe that in my heart,
That's that
just because
veteran
of
voice similar to the
that
Bogarts.
veteran
Big
voice
brother.
helping him and whatnot. But like just the plays that he'll be able to make that I don't think TK was making by any means last year.
I'm going to say a hot take that you might not agree with. I think it's a better voice than a Xander Bogarts voice for Rafi to have next to him.
So I do disagree with you, but only the reason I say it is the relationship that Devers and Xander had. I think Xander was really viewed as a leader on this team, where Story's not like a TK type role. I think Story's like a silent leader, in my humble opinion, like leads by example, leads behind the scenes and whatnot. And I do think probably like fielding wise, he's a better voice in his ear than Xander should be. But Xander was his calming presence. I feel like that was his big
calming
brother
voice.
right there.
Yeah.
And that I think means more to him than whatever Story could be like, hey bro, let's get our fingertips to the ground more and try to work through that ball instead of
I think the
coming behind it,
mindset too
whatever
of
it may be.
Story, just how much of a workhorse he is and a day-to-day grinder, I think that can rub off really well on a guy like Rafi, who at times has gotten that kind of vibe of just laid back.
I do too. I quickly do want to hit on the bullpen. I know we are an hour and a half into this thing. We didn't even know if we were going to go 45 minutes, and yet here we are. The
Time flies
bullpen
when
has
you're
just
having
been fucking amazing. Like, it's been really fun to watch. Greg Weiser out there just throwing fucking wiffle balls. Isaiah Campbell throwing wiffle balls. And my point to Campbell, though, is the one thing that does make me nervous is like if his sweeper or off speed's not working one day, like doesn't have a feel for it, then what's our backup? You know what I mean? Like, what's his backup? But he's throwing these, 78 to
batters.
81 mile hours, curveballs that are fucking moving like frisbees, and then he shoves 96 right down your goddamn throat. Like, and he's not afraid to throw that up and in on you either. So that's my take on him. And like him and Weiser are like one for the other, and I just love how the
Yeah, it's the
Yankees
same.
give us these guys for free.
I don't understand how they don't find value in them.
All right. Last two things before we get to our series look ahead. I know we are kind of live shooting the game right now as we're watching this. But your SoxHub team MVP so far, who do you got?
So far,
Yeah, so far in the season, not just for
yeah.
a series or anything like that, but what we
very tough. We were just talking about him. Trevor Story so far, he's kind of been the center point and focal point of your defense. And I think the energy is revolving around him a little bit as well. Him and Jaron Duran mainly from that energy point. Trevor Story, I think as well, when he starts to go, I think the rest of the team is going to follow here with that offense. And I think that's quickly going to come in the very near future. Within this series or the next, I think it will come. We'll get to the series look ahead, but I have a very good feeling it's going to be this series where Trevor starts going.
But I mean, look at what he's doing.
He's
Though.
the
Like,
MVP
he's batting
still.
241 though, with one stolen base and 9 strikeouts to 3
right now
walks.
because I know he's going to end up being okay there. That's the batting average he's going to have. What we need is the doubles and the home runs and a couple extra stolen bases when he walks or gets his couple of singles.
We don't need it. I'm on the flip side of that. Where like I want to see more stolen bases out of him because I feel like that is the identity of this team this year is putting the pressure on the pitcher. So for him to steal 20 to 25 bags again, I think would be huge for the team, for us, for everybody. But I don't hate the answer, but I feel like there's much better answers out there.
My other answer would be so far Nick Pivetta. Nick is the spirit animal of that pitching staff. That guy pitches with his heart and his balls on the mound dripping. The whole entire time he is out there, he's not afraid to be himself out there. He is now showing us, I understand Game 2 is against the Athletics, but he has been showing us how he can adjust on the fly when something is not working and he doesn't have a certain pitch or he doesn't have a certain spot on a given day. He is starting to adapt, and he's starting to figure it out. Nick,
did you see
Young? What's going on here? You know what I mean?
Did you just say what I think you just said?
he did two starts in. He's up there in almost every category. If he
Wow,
can
that's
continue to ride this out.
You know, I had actually heard this take or whatever, but like, you know, next off season the what's it called, the free agency thing isn't big, where Pavetta could end up being the best pitcher of that free agency
Contract
class.
year. It's a contract year for him too, so I'm going to double down on that Cy Young sort of thing. He's at least going to be an all-star.
Do you think he comes back? You know what? That's too far ahead. Too far ahead. Let's not get there yet.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
But
Yes.
we don't have to talk about everything. Oh. So we have Vaughn Grissom winning a Gold Glove.
Who's yours?
Oh, we're going there. Because we haven't talked about him enough yet. Out of the box pick for him, Andrew Bailey is my team MVP so far. The only reason I say that is because of what we thought this pitching staff was going to be and versus what it actually is. Now, granted, I understand we are 7 games into the season, going on 8 right now. I understand it's a very, very, very small sample size, but in that small sample size, he's already made such tweak to these pitchers, and I actually just feel like they have an approach to how they want to attack lineups this year. Again, Seattle was not very good at hitting off-speed pitches. Andrew Bailey knew that, and he tailored those pitchers to not throw fastballs, all this stuff. They lived on the off-speed. And I think that his game plan, his approach, his tweaking of his pitching staff, we can already see just what he's done already for them. He so far is my team MVP. I know it's not a player yet, because right now too, I think it's too hard to call out one player because the pitching staff has been phenomenal. I mean, you can make a case for Rafael out there with some of the plays that he's made out in center field, and
Definitely
those games would be, you know, very different. Duran as well, the pressure that he's put on the bases, Tyler O'Neill, for what he's done with the bat and defensively on top of it. So I think there's a case for a lot of guys that you could make. I think the strongest case, in my humble opinion, is Andrew Bailey, just because of what he's done with this pitching staff. And that was our biggest concern, and right now it seems to be our biggest strength.
I'm with that. I like that.
So we're going to go Andrew Bailey then?
I like Andrew Bailey. I also like my
All
Nick
right.
Pavetta. You're out of the box.
I'm writing somebody's
there with the Andrew Bailey.
Yeah. But I think he just needed to be talked about for what he's done so far.
He needed some love right here.
And so I am very curious to see where it takes us in the future with him, pretty much.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a great fit all around. He's going to be here for a long time. That could be potentially, if Alex Cora leaves, that's your manager. I think he's the clubhouse favorite as well, and the rest of the coaching staff probably is a big fan of him as well. Just by whenever they pan over, I've seen it at least 2 or 3 times in these amount of games so far this year. They're just yucking it up, having a laugh in the middle of the game. They're yucking it up all together.
Oh, all the coaches of it. They're sitting there just having the fucking time of their lives. However, one quick play I want to call out to, though, was the one where I think Duran was on third, or Rafaela, later in the game, and Story had come up to a bat. He walked on base, and I texted you, and I was like, they're going to send him right here. I go, I know that because of 2 reasons. One, Duran's a green runner at third base, and so they're not going to try to throw down because Duran's so aggressive that he will 100% try to take that base. And 2, we both saw Cora went, and that could have meant multiple things, but in that situation, it made complete sense that they were going to send Trevor Story. So I love that call.
The 2-strike count there too, right?
Yep. It might have been 1-1 at the time because it was within the first couple pitches that he did go. SoxHub team shit bum so far.
Pretty unanimous for me here. It's Jolie. Come on, what are we doing? We're
Jolie Rodriguez. Now I understand Cora putting him in the game in a situation he did in that close situation, or that save opportunity.
Second night in a row.
He had 3 lefties up in the order and whatnot, and you have a lefty in your team in for this exact reason. Okay, is to go out there and get lefties out. So I understand thought process. Everybody's like, oh, anybody but Jolie. And I was thinking the same thing at the time too. But when you really break it down and look at it, like, it was the right call, but at the same time, it just didn't work out. However, get Jolie off this fucking team. Bring up Jared Arendino. I forgot his last name for a minute there, because that thing is ready. He just made a quote recently down in Worcester about like how it felt being sent down and stuff like that. It was obviously it sucks. He doesn't want to be up there helping the team when he goes, but I'm gonna do everything I can to stay in shape and get back up to that team when that call comes. He goes, I'm gonna be ready. And I'll tell you right now, I think once he comes up, we have a complete volt at that point. Would I like to see another lefty in there? Sure.
Yeah.
But at the same time, too, I would much, much, much rather end up here. See that, or even bring him up instead of Chase Anderson. Let that be your 2-3 inning guy or something like that. If you need that, and then you have two lefties where like Joely can work in blowouts or low leverage situations.
We do need two lefties in that bullpen, I think, in order to really make a case for a wild card spot. I don't think we can just bank on just Jolie or just Bernardino. It has to be both of them or one of them and an addition throughout the course of the season.
Jarren Duran's hair just looks like fake black now.
Looks like he just really dunked himself into a tanning booth too, dude.
Yeah, like
fresh.
I would love to take it. Like,
either that or it's because it's the Navy
one day.
Jarren?
It could be. Yeah, just because he seems like a character. Like, he really does. I feel like he would be one that has no fucking filter.
Yeah, without a doubt. I could see that with him. I could see that with Casas too.
All right. Last thing we'll talk about, because we're closing on 2 hours here. Series look ahead. I'll let you take this away to the Trotty Body test of the week. I have no idea. We'll name it this segment. So talk to me. What are we looking at?
So we got a 3-game set here in good old Los Angeles, California against the LA Angels.
One more West Coast Series road trip.
Thank God. We got a 3-game set here Friday through Sunday. We got 2 night games, and then Sunday is going to be an afternoon slate. Game 1 going on right now in our recording is a 9:38 start. It's Cutter Crawford versus Griffin Canning. Cutter during his time versus the Angels, he's had 3 games started. He's thrown 10 innings there with a 1.8 ERA. In 2023, last year, he threw 8 1/3 innings versus the Angels with only 1 earned, 8 Ks, 1 walk, 3 hits, and only gave up 1 dingo. This was all out of the bullpen right here last year. Keep that in mind, that little 8-inning sample size. Canning versus the Red Sox has, on the other hand, 2 games started. He's 1-0 against us with a 1.38 ERA, 12 punchies, 5 walks, 8 hits, 2 earned, 1 home run. Please note that one of the outings was in 22, the other was in 23. And last year, he threw 7 shutout innings at home against the Red Sox.
Well, they let up 1 home run and then let up 3 tonight. So that's
thankfully
good. That guy stinks.
Yes, so forget about him. I'm not going to go and give you kind of like the batting average against for the hitters because this game's already going on. But my pick for this one straight up was, with that pitching matchup, Cutter Crawford all day. He's our guy. That's going to be our ace this year, not Brian Bayo. It's going to be Cutter Crawford. Game 2 is on Saturday, 9:38 as well as
the intriguing one to me.
Garrett Whitlock versus Reed Detmers. This is a tricky one right here. Garrett Whitlock versus the Angels. He's had 4 games against them with 17 innings. He's 1-0, no saves. He's got just under a 4 ERA to 3.71, 22 Ks, only 2 walks, 11 hits, 7 earned, 2 of them from a long ball. Reed
Did
Detmers.
he start any of these? Or were these?
Yes. He started at least one of them. Reed Detmers versus, I'll pull that up in a minute. Reed Detmers has had 3 games against us, 15 1/3. He's 0-1 with a 2.93 ERA, 10 Ks, 5 walks, 13 hits, 5 earned off of 1 home run. This is interesting here. So there's been a guy that I have highlighted an asterisk that I'm a little worried about on this Angels team. Outside of just looking at their numbers against that guy, Brendan Drury scares me this series. This guy is 3 for 5 with an RBI against Garrett Whitlock. You gotta remember Mike Trout's on this team, and he's 2 for 7 with a home run, 2 RBIs against Garrett Whitlock in his career. We were shit talking Anthony Rendon. He's 1 for 5 against Whitlock, so I'm not really concerned about that guy. The only other guy that's notable against Garrett Whitlock that's seen him or is not hitless against him is O'Hop. He's one of their catchers. He's
love
only
O'Hoppe.
seen him one time, and he's 1 for 1 against Woody, so that'll be intriguing.
I will say this is the game that interests me the most of, I don't know which way it's
me
gonna go,
too.
because
Me too.
I believe in Reed Detmers this year, that he's actually going to kind of put it together a little bit.
Yeah.
And we've already seen it, because he, on the flip side of Whitlock and Bayo trying to speed up their off speed, has really tried to slow down his off speed. And it showed in that first start. He went out and beat the Orioles, which I think says a lot.
That's a statement.
A lot about him. Exactly. That's a statement. So that's the one that makes me the most nervous. Is I love the changes that Whitlock has made and whatnot, and I think he'll be fine. I worry about our offense, especially when some of our best hitters being lefties in Devers and Casas, and whatnot. So and even Duran to that point, like, we are a very lefty hitting lineup. So Detmers makes me, I shouldn't say worried. I do think that I'll get to how many they can win, but that's the game that intrigues me the most.
The Red Sox against Detmers, you're pretty spot on here. Outside of Story, the rest of the lineup has yet to face him. Excuse me. Yeah, the rest of the lineup has yet to face him, or they haven't got a hit against him, besides Trevor Story. Trevor Story is 3 for 5 with 3 ribbies against Detmers. Game 3 is that afternoon slate game, so we can go to bed a little early, going into our scary Mondays. We got a Sunday 4:07 start Eastern time. Tanner Houck versus Silseth. I don't even know who Silseth is. Sorry if I don't know your first name. Whatever, dude. Tanner Houck versus the Angels. He's had 4 games in his career, 14 and a third innings, no saves. Hear me out here. 6.28 ERA against the Angels, 21 Ks, 8 walks, 13 hits, 10 earned, 1 home run. Please note, he kind of got rocked out of the bullpen within 2 appearances in 2022, which is inflating this ERA. In 2023, he had 2 starts against them with a 2.7 ERA in 10 innings, 14 Ks, 6 walks, 7 hits, 3 earned, no dingos. With the way that man looked like he was commanding the rock the other day against the Athletics, I understand, but goddamn, I think this is going to be a problem for the Angels. The guys against Tanner Houck for the Angels, it's pretty good numbers, but I have a feeling it's mainly from that 2022, because Anthony Rendon's on this 2 for 3 against him with an RBI, no home run. Sano, their DH, is 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs against Tanner Houck in his career.
Sano hasn't seen Major League pitching in like 4 years, so he doesn't worry me that much. However, if he
No, I'm not really worried, but that's like an asterisk to put down, like, ooh, if he runs into one. Drury, again, like I've mentioned, is 2 for 3 against Whitlock. Moniak is 1 for 3 against Houck. Not Whitlock, excuse me. Tice, their backup catcher to O'Hop, is 1 for 2 against Houck. The rest of the lineup hasn't faced him yet or is hitless. So that's a little concerning because there's more of a sample size there than, the Reed Detmers one. But
yeah,
you know what? I'll take it.
Well, in fairness, as we know, Houck can't go to the lineup 3 times. Hopefully we see that change this year.
Nobody has faced Silseth. Sorry.
Chase Silseth, I believe his first name's Chase, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think you're right. He's only been in the league 2 years.
What I do know about him is he does have some pretty good stuff, and I actually like him on the mound. Just because I'm pretty sure he's like upper 90s with a sinker. And he has some pretty. Trevor! Oh, that's not good. That's not good. That's a poor Rabel, I think.
Oh, God.
Oh, that's not good. No, he's done. Oh, he's in some immense pain. Oh. Well, so serious predictions. I was going to say Chris 2 out of 3. Not too sure anymore. Who the hell's our backup shortstop? Avo Reyes? Oh, we just look at Whitlock's eyes right now. whole fucking team is just like, God,
This guy can't catch a break. This guy can't catch a foot.
you really can't. But that's just like when you talk about he works out, like that's just him just fucking going hard. But like he was fully extended and then landed down. I don't know if he dislocated his shoulder or I guarantee he tore his fucking labrum. I bet. Yeah. Oh. All right.
He
Well,
almost
let's
caught
try
that
to
too.
end on a positive note, I guess. What a
Going
terrible way to end a podcast.
Jansen, Martin, and Winkowski have shoved out of the pen versus the Angels, so I really like our notables out of the pen there. I also pulled Joly's stats. He has a 2.25 ERA out of the bullpen versus the Angels in 10 games. So I don't really hate our bullpen in this series too much. All right, thank God he's up, but that arm ain't
Yeah,
moving.
but he's not even. Yeah, it's not even moving.
Yeah, and he's pissed.
He's in
Obviously.
pain.
Yeah, that ain't moving.
Oh.
Labrum.
No, yeah, he knows. He knows he's done for the year probably.
Cora too.
Oh,
Cora knows.
I don't even care what he provided offensively. What he did, same thing with Raphael. What he did defensively, and he stole a few bases. And now, do we think this moves like Sedane to shortstop? And then you have
If anything,
Jaron
when
in center,
Vaughn comes back,
Weiler, and
if
Les.
anything, when Vaughn comes back, Bob's going there, and they're going to keep Valdez, Pablo, second base. They're not going to move Rafael the way he's been playing in center field.
I don't think they should, but oh
God,
God,
darn
what a
it,
terrible
dude.
fucking blow. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is your first SoxHub podcast. Started off really hot, brought you a nice 2-hour pod, and what a terrible way to end it right there on that short story play. Really was hoping for a lot better there. But that's it. I don't know how often we're going to come out. Probably once a week. I'm going to talk to try to get out of here, and we'll figure out when we're going to record
Twice a
and
week
stuff
sounds
like
good.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're busy with times. We'll probably keep them shorter as we move forward. I feel like we had a
Yeah,
lot
if we
to
go once, twice a
catch
week,
up
I
on and
think
talk
we'll be
on. Yeah, and I, as much as we'll probably talk about baseball, I'm sure we're going to talk about some random nonsense like you not reading a book for White got you like 6 months ago, and she read yours in 6 days. Random shit like that.
Next podcast is going to be halfway gone.
Yeah,
It's gonna
we'll
be
see.
halfway
I
gone.
want a full. You know what? Bring me a book report. All right, I'm going to thesis about what
You
the
want
book's
me to
about.
do it? All right,
Yep,
I got
I
you.
want to see how you're doing so far.
We will write
Full
it.
book report on the book.
I wish I remembered the name. She would kill me if I forgot the name.
Is it A
She would be
Court of
really upset.
Thorns and Roses?
It's something like that. It's not a Sarah J. Maas book. So she was like, "I'll spare you on
Oh,
that."
so you know
because
the
she's like,
so you know the authors.
yes, no, just the Sarah J. Maas one because she's everywhere.
I
This one is like some girl that is a dragon tamer or something figures it out. So it seems
yes, I know
decent.
this one.
But
I haven't. The
you
ladies that
you've
work
had to
about
have
this.
seen this. There's boyfriends that'll read it out loud, and one of them's doing it in like Carl Weezer's voice, or one of them's doing it in another person's voice, like Kermit the Frog.
Carl
Yeah.
Weezer.
And it's like
Calls him
borderline like
SAC.
smut that they're reading too. So
Mhm.
it's fantastic.
All right, I love it. But
But
all
yeah,
right,
I'll give you
that
a
ends
book
the
report.
podcast. I love it.
Yeah,
Bring
book
you next
report
week.
coming next pod.
All right.
Beautiful. Godspeed.
We've on.